Well, another disturbing indie horror game just dropped. If this is your first time here, let me introduce myself. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Shadow Yaxolotl, and I've got one thing to say before I am drunk again. Goddamn the sun! Today I want to talk about the lore of No One Not a Human. This video will be divided into two sections. Since this game is short and sweet, I'll give you a rundown of what your average run looks like. And by average run, I mean my first run. And by the end of it, I will fit together the scattered pieces of the lore and tell you what this game truly is about. It's a theory I came up with myself, and I'm yet to see someone talking about it. So I invite you to see it by yourself and tell me what you think. If you have played the game before and only want the lore/theories I will present, please feel free to skip to this time mark showing on the screen. For those that will stay, let's hit play. You start the game and hear a muffled knocking sound coming from the door in front of you. You peer through the magic eye and see...
People from the cities have already started coming to the neighbors. People have changed a lot. If they come to your place, you let them in. Just be careful, okay? I've heard of people being killed by other people. Now I hear these stories more and more often. An acquaintance said that creatures that look like humans are coming. In a few days, they will tell me what signs can be used to distinguish them from humans. You can't stay alone. Something very evil will come, and who knows what's next. It's safe to look out the windows at night, and I even recommend it. That way you at least realize what surrounds your house. It's hard to look out during the day. It gets very hot. The light hurts my eyes. Let's summarize. There's going to be people coming in at night. You decide who to let in, who not. It's hard to decide visually. We'll be told later on by the authorities what to do. Look in the windows. You don't know what's going on. And keep your head down. It's dangerous everywhere now.
This character right here is our neighbor. He does a great job at contextualizing us what's going on and how we can be safe. Basically, he's teaching us the car mechanic of this game. People will come at night looking for shelter from the scorching sun, and we have to let them in. But creatures that sometimes are called visitors, and sometimes guests, will show up at our doors. They look and act like humans, but will kill us if we let them in. It's our job to discern between human and visitor, and help as many people as we can. The neighbor also tells us he's gonna sleep inside our cabin tonight. A prompt tells us no one else is coming, so we go to our bedroom and take a good night of sleep. Once we wake up, the first thing we do is check the morning news.
Good morning, dear viewers. It's the morning weather forecast. The sun keeps shining and the summer heat persists in our town. The duration of this heat has already broken a Guinness record, and it seems that the good weather isn't going anywhere. Scientists are closely monitoring solar activity and predict its intensification, but they assure us there's no need to worry. So grab your sunglasses, take your best swimsuits, and don't forget your hats. And most importantly, make sure you don't get sunstroke. Lately, there's been more weird behavior in the town, and the experts think it's because of too much sun.
You may notice there are battery-looking thingies on the top left corner of the screen. These are our action points. From watching the TV to interacting with our residents, everything we do costs one of these. So it's important we use them wisely. Alternatively, we can go to the fridge and grab a beer, which will consume all our energy and allow us to sleep. But unless you're me trying to get footage for this video, you're probably never using that. We meet our neighbor at the cabin, who tells us about the mechanics of the game, including dialogue with residents. We should use them to look out for signs that they are visitors this way.
By the way, I've heard that at night someone walks around asking if you're home alone. If you open the door, don't say that you're alone.
With this very important warning, we head to our bedroom and sleep until night. A knocking at the door wakes you up. Well, let's do this. This ugly little thing greeting us is the neighbor's daughter. Or is she? Either way, she says she's here for her dad, and we don't have much choice other than letting him go with her. At this point, I remember what the neighbor told us about checking the windows, so I went and did just that. It's that quiet outside, nobody's there. Even the alcoholics, for some unknown reason, decided to not show up on the street. Are they afraid of someone? You see several teenagers spending time in the field outside the window. They are sitting around, chatting excitedly, not paying attention to you. In the distance is the neighbor's house. The neighbor is visiting you now. The lights are on in the windows, and the family seems to be waiting for him to leave you back home for dinner. Another knocking at our door. We see through the magic eye and
I was hiding in the pub, but I was kicked out.
this is Bar Guy. After being kicked out, he came to our door looking for shelter, and we have to decide if we want to help him or not. Now, the footage you're seeing is from my very first playthrough. Obviously, the game will be very different for each person, but let me share with you my own experience. In my run, I decided to let Bar Guy in. He does look weird with that hunched back and high cheekbones, but I felt like relying solely on appearances would not be a good idea in this game where everyone looks uncanny to some extent. So Bar Guy will be our first resident.
Thanks. Trusting people nowadays is worth no more than a coin. That's why I appreciate your trust. Maybe... alright, I can't promise anything.
The third visitor of the night is...
Hello. Sorry for disturbing you so late. It's just too hot during the day. The TV said it's better not to go out in the sun. Is there any corner for me?
She got fired from her work and is terrified of the burning sun. So she came to our house looking for shelter. Remember when I said that relying on appearances won't get you nowhere in this game? Yeah, I take that back. I know people look weird here, but I feel like your shoulder's way higher than it should be, miss. Though, as you can see in the footage, I did take some time pondering. But ultimately, I decided it was not worth the risk. She was the last person to visit us tonight, so we head to our bedroom and sleep until daytime.
We interrupt our morning show for an urgent message. Today, at 6:28 a.m., there was a powerful solar energy eruption. This flare is larger than scientists predicted. The air temperature has reached a critical level. Authorities have declared a state of emergency. We urge all citizens to avoid going outside during daylight hours. Now, on to the news. Aliens? People emerging from underground? No, this isn't a sci-fi story or a tabloid headline. Eyewitnesses report contact with visitors around the city. One eyewitness encountered a middle-aged man who had perfectly white teeth. It turns out he was one of these visitors. Similar incidents with visitors sporting perfect teeth have been observed. So, if you want to identify them, check their teeth. Please stay alert and calm. Now, let's move on to the other news.
After being informed about the teeth, the first thing we do is obviously check on Bar Guy.
Yeah? Did you want something? What do you want to check? Do you want to see my teeth? Well, look at them. They still have the taste of unhappiness and smoke on them.
He's clear, for now at least. During the day, we can spend our time speaking with the residents. I won't be showing every single dialogue in this video, but feel free to pause and read it for yourself if you want some added info and lore. Speaking of lore, the sun heat is intensifying, and it's no longer safe to leave the house during the day. We also learned a very important thing. Visitors emerge from the underground. It's only the second day, so it's no use trying to figure what's going on. So we rest until night. Outside the window stands a neighbor and his daughter. They play happily together, forgetting the horror that is happening. Just for a moment. Watching this makes you remember your childhood and gives you a warm feeling of nostalgia. There are bodies of teenagers on the ground. Someone killed them. It seems to be recent, because the blood hasn't dried yet. The picture gives you goosebumps and make you feel a little uneasy. On the path stands a man as pale as death itself. There are strange folds in his skin. This skin seems to be a bit too big for him. You can't see his eyes from here, but you can feel him drilling you with his gaze. You feel fear and pray to God that the creepy visitor will avoid the house.
Let me tell you right away, I'm not afraid of the heat. But I'm still looking for a quiet place.
We just learned that the visitors can have loose skin, so I asked Cold Guy to take his coat so I could check it, but he blatantly refused, saying that he was cold. Still, I thought that perhaps the game threw a curveball and tricked you into thinking that this guy is a visitor when he's actually a human, so I let him in.
Thank you. The ceiling is a little low here, but I'll be fine.
How fortunate we are! We've witnessed firsthand the consequences of human passions. The earth will be cleansed, the sun will do its work, and we will go to a new clean world. That's the fucking good news.
He kept talking about how the heat is the result of our sins, and once it's over, we will all go to a better place. When I met him for the first time, I thought, this guy is way too ugly and way too irritating to not be a human. Plus, he keeps calling us human. This gotta be a curveball. Despite not being really sure if I wanted him in, I figured I should try to save as many people as I can.
Too bad we are the witnesses. Maybe we are participants, too.
Who are you?
Just a person. I'm not looking for anything. I'm not forcing anyone to do anything. I came out of the shadows. I'll stay in the shadows.
What are you talking about?
That's how you look at it. What do my words mean to you? Will you read my fortune? From a book.
No matter what we choose here, the result will be the same. I made sure to check in my other runs.
The dead will come and tell, and he will not be believed. What does that mean? I need to think now. Maybe I'll see you later.
That's it. That's our mysterious lore guy who will be the key for uncovering the secrets of the story. If we can figure out what his words mean, anyway.
Good morning, dear viewers. This is the morning news. Solar activity remains abnormal, and experiments predict that it will continue to intensify. There are continuing reports from eyewitnesses about encounters with visitors. In response to this situation, authorities urgently ramped up FEMA operations. FEMA is an acronym for the Federal Emergency Management Agency. FEMA staff members wear yellow hazmat suits. The FEMA Special Committee started functioning recently, but they have discovered a new indicator of visitors. The FEMA Special Committee experts believe that besides teeth, visitors can be identified by dirt under their nails. As reported by FEMA, this was discovered during an inspection of one of the houses. Employees encountered a woman who had worked as a nurse. For some unknown reason, she had dirt under her nails. Given that visitors emerged from the ground, the woman was taken for testing. Her dangerous status confirmed. If you notice anyone resembling a visitor, promptly contact FEMA members or call the hotline at 0451. Please stay alert and calm and avoid leaving your home during daylight hours. Now, let's move on to other news.
Alright, time to check for signals of visitors in our residence.
I wish there was some warmth.
I need to check on you.
What do you want to check?
Teeth.
Teeth? If it helps in any way, sure. Look. What do we do now? I got it now.
Never mind.
Thank you for your trust. I hope I can be of service. There's something eating me up, but I can't open up to you yet. Sorry.
I listen to your words, human. Speak!
I need to check on you.
No taboo, my friend. Watch my nails as long as you like. I've trained myself to get useful sunlight with them and open beer caps. Did you just want to check it out?
Nails? I'll show you. Looks like I shipped them all or something. But take a look anyway. Do you think my fingernails fit the sign of a visitor? You know what? I think I figured out why I always feel so cold.
I need to check on you.
Dirt under the fingernails? Is that supposed to be a sign? They can just wash their hands. That's all it takes. So what? Every gardener is a visitor now? Well, am I a visitor? Of course not.
Just to make sure, I also went to check again on the sun guy to see his teeth. But despite being white, he's got a lot of broken teeth. So he stays alive for now. There's a small group of FEMA staff standing outside a neighbor's house. I wonder what they're talking about. Maybe they're taking soil samples? Or are they looking for a place to set up base? It makes you feel a little better to think that someone is trying to make sense of this nightmare. The bodies of teenagers burned to death on the ground. They seem to have been lying here all day. 2 emergency workers are standing next to the bodies and writing something down. It's good that there are those who can remove bodies. It's scary to imagine what kind of contagion would appear if rotting bodies are not removed from the streets. There's a group of armed soldiers outside the window. Apparently they are a small unit sent from the streets to provide security for the EC. You can only hear bits and pieces of phrases about a pale man with a bare torso. Maybe they want to track down that creepy stranger. You feel relieved there are people ready to deal with dangerous guests on the streets. Why are you here?
How's it going here? Is everything okay?
Why are you ignoring my question?
Listen, hey. Are you alone in the house? Just curious. You're just reading someone's fortune, promising salvation to some, driving some away.
I have other people taking shelter here.
You're lucky tonight. I could hear someone whispering in your rooms. But who knows what will happen tomorrow?
Yeah, you really don't want to stay alone at your house in this game.
Can I rest at your place?
This woman is carrying the body of her deceased husband. She's tired, both physically and mentally, so we must decide if we want to trust that she's not a visitor and let her in.
I don't think I'll stay long. I just need a break.
Alright, listen. This guy has Amogus, freaking Amogus, written on his shirt. This guy is sus. No way I'm taking him in. Hell no. Also, he keeps calling you bitch if you let him in. I don't like him. Get out.
It's so quiet at night. Hi, can I come in?
This old man is a doctor that used to work in hospitals. But after chaos ensued, he decided to leave and came to our door looking for shelter. I decided it was better to let him in.
I hope I can help someone.
For some reason, we hear a knocking at our door, but nobody's there. Nope, Shadow. Still nobody.
Good morning, dear viewers. This is the morning news. The valiant FEMA staff members have organized quarantine zones. Anyone showing signs of visitors is directed there. Some people express concern that the identity of visitors remains unknown. However, FEMA assures that they are merely ill individuals in need of assistance. Additionally, FEMA has identified a new indicator of visitors: intensely irritated blood red eyes. This information was discovered through experiments with detained guests. According to FEMA experts, the irritation is caused by exposure to bright sunlight. Please stay alert and calm and avoid leaving your house during daylight hours. Now, let's move on to other news.
There was a ghost of a grandma on the couch. I don't really know what's that all about.
What do you want to check? Thank you. My teeth are fine. Ah, it's the visitor signs you're asking about. Sure, look. Perfect. Huh? I had a friend of mine put them on for free, and I operated on him a while ago. I wonder how he is now. Wait, what? You're making a mistake. I heal people. You don't have to kill them.
Alright, I need to explain myself. If you remember a while ago what we saw on the TV,
One eyewitness encountered a middle-aged man who had perfectly white teeth. It turns out he was one of these visitors.
now, this guy is arguably too old to be considered middle-aged. But my stupid self thought for sure that the TV was talking about an old man with white teeth. So thinking that it was him, the first thing I asked was the teeth, and it was the only thing I needed to know. Unfortunately, he was not a visitor. You see those body bags? When we kill a human, they are left in their place. But when we kill a visitor, they leave their corpse, which means that Cold Guy was actually a visitor, and Surgeon was a human. But come on, man. The guy even had blood on his coat. That was a really tough one to guess. Anyways, I'm a murderer now. Well, back to check for signs of visitors. I did went on and checked a few more times, but none of them showed any signs of visitors. So, no more shootings today.
Attention! Emergency alert! Due to intense solar heat, wildfires are engulfing forests and fields. The extent of the fires is still hard to determine. However, it's already apparent that these are the largest fires humanity has ever faced. All available fire crews have been deployed to the affected areas, but many firefighters have been pulled from duty due to encounters with visitors. Now, let's move on to other news.
The heat is intensifying each day. More and more visitors are rising from the ground. We managed to get some sleep despite it all, but is this really going to be the end of the world? A neighbor's house, which was recently painted white, burned to the ground and is now completely black. The fire seems to have died down recently. Did someone set it on fire on purpose? What happened to the neighbor's family? Did anyone survive? Why did they burn the house down? Your head is filled with anxious thoughts and a feeling of incomprehension and helplessness. A pale, creepy man stands in the road and smiles. He has someone's severed head in his hand, wearing a helmet. It's a soldier's head with a grimace of horror frozen on his face. You are very uncomfortable with what you see. The entire squad of soldiers who were here yesterday are dead. The bodies are strewn all over the street, and one of the bodies is missing a head. Did the pale, creepy stranger kill them all? You are horrified by this picture of carnage, and you feel in danger.
I'm from the FEMA crew. We're here to help you.
How can I trust you?
You must have seen the news. We were there. I can also show you my ID.
Why are you wearing a hazmat suit? Are we getting one of those?
There's no reason to be afraid. The suit is in case we catch the sunrise. Civilians don't need it now. Just stay home. We'll take care of you.
Do you have an action plan?
Of course. It's not like we can act spontaneously. We'll take any one person with us for examination. Since you may have been exposed to solar radiation, we'll check the health of one. Based on that, we'll decide if you all need help. It could be anyone.
Do I have to pack too?
No, you are, as I understand it, the owner of the house. You stay here for now. We'll take the man away, then decide what to do next. We'll issue instructions afterward. I'm now taking the man with us. We're leaving. Goodbye.
And with that, we say goodbye to our sun guy. FEMA agents are going around town looking for signs of quote-unquote solar radiation, and if that is detected, they will burn the house down. This guy here holds a very animalistic mindset. The law of the jungle, where the might makes right. I decided to let him in thinking that, well, if he is a visitor, I could just check on him the next day and kill him, if that's the case. That's when I realized that I'm probably a psycho. But hey, at least that makes two of us. Come on in, buddy. That is the same girl from night 1. She tells us the neighbor had visitors staying in the house, and they killed her dad, then burned everything. The little girl managed to escape. It's unclear, however, if she's referring to the unhuman visitors or the FEMA agents that were standing in front of the house yesterday. However, even though I was not fully convinced she was not a visitor, I decided to let her in any case.
I'm not fond around here. I don't like staying in one place too long. Can't run around as much anymore. I'm getting too old for that.
Apparently this guy hates visitors. He says they should be hunted. Appearance-wise, he seemed safe, so I thought maybe he was human and let him in.
Anybody home?
She was kicked out of her house and is running away from FEMA agents. Look, my instincts were telling me she's definitely a visitor. But then again, perhaps I was just being mean. Dreading being cancelled more than I fear being mutilated by visitors, I decided to let her in.
Yeah, thanks. Don't open the door to those yellow ones, okay? They're gonna take us somewhere.
You smell decay and death. Someone was killed tonight. It seems you have guests in your home. That's a great way to start the day, huh?
Good morning, dear viewers. This is the morning news. FEMA continues to identify new signs of visitors. According to their data, attempts to photograph visitors result in severe blurring in the photos. This effect can only be observed with film cameras. Unfortunately, the reason for this phenomenon has not been determined yet. However, FEMA urges citizens to use this new information to identify visitors. Please stay alert and calm and avoid leaving your house during daylight hours. Now, let's move on to other news.
Considering I accepted everyone last night, today was bound to be a busy day. I first checked Suit Guy, who I was most suspicious of, but when taking his picture, there was nothing out of ordinary. Next was the middle-aged woman.
What do you want to check? What thief, son? Well, look what isn't there. So what? What conclusion shall we draw? You'll be careful with that stuff. Pointing it at everyone will make everyone look askance at you. You don't always have that gun in your hand, do you? It's been a long time since I was last photographed. Go ahead, why not?
You're taking a picture of the person you're talking to. You purposely hold still and wait for the moment. When the photo shows up, you can see that it's blurry. Completely.
Why can't you see me well? Try it. They'll smear you too. Just like I'm smearing the photo.
Alright, she left a corpse, meaning that she was indeed a visitor. But we still have more people to check.
You keep your eyes open. The visitor could be any one of us.
I need to check on you.
What do you want to check?
A photograph.
I don't really like taking pictures. The flash reminds me of a thunderstorm. It makes me panic. No, you didn't get it. I'm not taking pictures. Thanks for understanding. You know, I don't like that stuff. The pictures, the sudden flashes, the sounds. I'm not interested.
I was trying to click on the little girl, but I wasn't able to. I realized now that she was the one that got killed, and the game was bugged. But yeah, she died to the visitor in our house. I went to check on the widowed woman and on bar guy by taking a picture, but both of them were safe. So there was one last thing I needed to check.
You know, I once had color in my eyes. Now, of course, this kind of life only gives us gray eyes. But you gotta know, we'll tear them apart with my hands.
You're looking at your neighbor's house. Only a ghostly silhouette remains. You're devastated by what you see. It seems to disturb you even more to realize that it's not the evil guests who are to blame, but people with paranoia. It brings you anxiety. You see a stake with a helmet skull on it. There's some black burnt skin left on the skull, and the teeth look like someone pulled them out. The head has been here all day. The whole green display looks like a threat, surely left by that creepy pale visitor. There's a dead man hanging suspended from a lamppost with a sign around his neck. It says, "Visitors are not welcome." Looks like the poor guy was mistaken for a guest and killed in a lynching. The thought of violence engulfing once a peaceful and quiet town breaks your heart and makes you long for quieter times.
We're with the FEMA team. We need to do a survey of your neighborhood.
What about the last survey?
The results are too mixed. We're not sure of the results yet. The sample was too small.
Why was one not enough?
The sample is too small. The boss first said to take one at a time, but now we can see that we need more. So we went out again.
No, I'm not interested in those examinations.
You don't get it. We didn't give you a choice. We're just doing our job. You can't say no. We'll do what we need to do and leave.
What did you think of that one in the suit?
I don't know how to feel about him.
What's not to know? Okay, anyway, I don't care.
Can you leave?
Yeah, sure, I didn't think you had trouble talking to me. Just first, are you alone in the house right now?
I have other people taking shelter here.
Getting ready? Do you know what you're getting ready for? It's the last days. Didn't they tell you? Dogs rule the world, and only dogs will be here. Have a good stay.
But what comes next is a terrible secret.
You're back.
It's not for long. I just walk around and observe what's happening, how the world is changing. And I don't yet feel that glaciers are going to melt anytime soon. Looks like we're in for birds raining from the sky.
Do you think things will get worse?
Is there any point in thinking? I don't think we should bother our heads with it now. Whether you keep talking or hide people, it's all the same. I have no thoughts on what to do.
What should we do?
I don't know. I'll just keep watching. That's all I can do. What will you do?
We are left with a lot to think. Dogs rule the world, and only dogs will be here. Could be that the visitors have already infiltrated the government, the economy, news, and even FEMA. I am not sure myself. We know visitors emerge from the ground, but who are they? So far we have no evidence that they could take the shape of other humans, so it would be hard to infiltrate structures of power. But even if it's hard, it doesn't mean it's impossible. The exploding sun, the visitors, the paranoia setting in. No one trusts anyone. These thoughts of despair start to settle in as we rest for one last time. It's no longer safe to live on the surface of Earth. You board up all the windows and barricade the doors. After covering with your tenants, you decide to not go into the outside world anymore. You pray helplessly that someday this will all be over. If this nightmare ever ends. Or it's just a relatively optimistic dream you're having. In fact, your body was mutilated by guests who, given the opportunity to experience emotions, would only be glad to receive such a gift. Just one day short of. I messed up. One visitor is sneaked in and I failed to find them. Night 5 is the last one of the demo, and if you have a visitor in your house, you get the bad ending. And because I had a visitor in my house, I died. Or did I? In fact, all the residents in my house were actually human. But you know who wasn't a human? Bearded Guy. I got lucky that the FEMA agent took him out of the house in the last day, but since I didn't shoot him in the morning, the game must have bugged and thought that I should have got the bad ending. Anyways, here's the ending I should have got. It is no longer safe to live on the surface of the earth. You board up all the windows and barricade the doors. After conferring with your tenants, you decide to not go into the outside world anymore. You pray helplessly that someday this will all be over. If this nightmare ever ends, at the very least, you'll have peace of mind knowing there are only humans under your roof. Alright, we're done with the gameplay. Let's talk about the lore, shall we? To crack the lore of No One on a Human, we have two main questions we need to answer. And these are, who are the visitors? And what is the Cataclysm? Considering this is only a demo, it's unlikely we can have all the answers. But despite that, there is still a lot we can do. I have an interesting theory I want to share with all of you. What if I told you the sun's heat is not increasing? What if I tell you the Cataclysm has nothing to do with the sun and the heat? We'll get into that. But the first question we will answer is, who are the visitors? Thanks to the news, we know that they come from the ground. We also know, thanks to Bar Guy, that they started crawling out of the ground as soon as the Cataclysm began. He thinks that they want to replace us, and the burning sun is a way of getting rid of us. Sun Guy, on the other hand, disagrees. He believes that visitors are actually aliens. His theory is that aliens came to Earth 8 years ago and planted the seeds that would become visitors, and now they want to take our planet. But according to Sun Guy, the burning sun is our ally. It burns away visitors, and that's the reason why they have to stay underground. But which one is the truth? That's probably what we want to know. Part of the answer to what the visitors are can be found, I think, in the Book of Revelations. If you don't know, the Book of Revelations is the last book of the New Testament. It's an apocalyptic text describing the end of times. In this book, God passes down a series of judgments upon the earth. And one of these judgments is terrifyingly similar to the events of No One Not a Human. If we wait for a bit in the menu of the game, once in a while the letters will change from gibberish to red words: conquest, war, famine, and death. These are the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse that are released as the first set of judgments. To make the parallels even more direct, the text also changes to apocalypse. Well, it does change to other things, so I'll include them here just in case. These are plague, disease, murderer, killer, and nightmare. At the end of the Book of Revelations, the dead are brought back to life to face one final judgment, to see if they remain faithful to God and have the right to go with Him to heaven, or if they will be condemned to hell. I'm simplifying, of course, but do I think the events of the game are literally the same of the Book of Revelations? No, Not at all. But it leads to my theory of what the visitors are. Remember when we read Our Fortune?
The dead will come and tell, and he will not be believed. What does that mean?
I believe visitors are the dead brought back to life. But how? Is it supernatural? Are they like skinwalkers? Zombies? I don't think so. Instead, I think it is something way more plausible. Let's go back to another thing Egghead Guy said.
And I don't yet feel that glaciers are going to melt anytime soon.
Glaciers are not going to melt? You mean South and North Poles? How come the sun is so hot that the heat can burn people alive, but glaciers are not melting? It doesn't make any sense, does it? Unless what's causing people to burn is not the heat of the sun. What made me think of this theory is one question I will propose. Why the FEMA agents wear hazmat suits? How is that even supposed to help against the heat of the sun? Unless what they're trying to be protected from is not the heat, but instead radiation. Why are you wearing a hazmat suit? Are we getting one of those?
There's no reason to be afraid. The suit is in case we catch the sunrise. Civilians don't need it now. Just stay home. We'll take care of you.
Catch the sunrise, you say? Yeah, but how exactly does the suit help you with avoiding that? There is no reason to think that intense solar heat leads to radiation. And how being affected by heat has anything to do with being a visitor anyway? So what I'm suggesting is that radiation is what burns people, not heat. And that's why glaciers will not melt, but birds will rain from the sky. I do have more evidence to support this theory. It comes from an interesting character that I missed in my first playthrough. It's Cashier Girl. She shows all the signs of being a visitor. Perfect teeth, dirty nails, red eyes, and blurry in photos. But she doesn't seem to be aware that she's a visitor at all. Nor does she kill anyone while she stays at our house. Remember that prompt that showed in day 4? You smell decay and death. Someone was killed tonight. It seems you have guests in your home. In another run, I had her as the only visitor at the house, and not even once this text appeared. My theory is because she's not really a visitor yet. Instead, she's slowly turning into one. What do you know about the Cataclysm?
I don't even know what to say. I decided to look out the window and I wish I hadn't looked out there. The sun just burned some kids. I don't want to die from the burning sun so badly. Do you want to check my eyes? I'm guessing what the result will be. What would happen if I match the sign? You bet. Could it be otherwise? Are you gonna kill me? Too bad I'll never know what happens to us all. Am I really a visitor? What do you think? Why wouldn't I know that? Maybe that's how you become one. Maybe it's enough to think that you're different, and here you are, the worst person for society. If it turns out I'm a visitor, will I start killing people? Will I become dangerous? Or have I always been? Maybe I do kill people.
You're taking a picture of the person you're talking to. When the photo shows up, you'll see a blurred body in the clear background. It was as if at the moment of the photo, the person choked violently.
Can you believe it? What's gonna happen now? Can I live? Or is it better to kill me? What are you gonna do? What if you shoot me and I actually become something even more horrible? Maybe I should run away, but I don't know. What if I'm still a human being? What should I do?
If my guess is correct, and this theory is true, and intense radiation is causing the outside to become inhospitable during daytime, perhaps it's some type of biological weapon that can only occur in response to daylight. If visitors are indeed a result of radiation, it also explains why the photos appear blurred. Because, yes, high levels of radiation can damage photographs. And don't take that away from me. NASA is the one saying it. So my theory is that those who are exposed to radiation catch the quote sunrise, which slowly mutates them into visitors, who rise from the dead as inhuman killers. And worst of all, FEMA might be the ones behind all of it. Remember the FEMA hotline? 04-5-1. That's a strange number. Assuming it's a code for a Bible verse, we can equate it to the 4th book, 5th chapter, and 1st verse. I'll include more than the 1st verse just for context. The Lord said to Moses, "Command the Israelites to send away from the camp anyone who has a defiling skin disease, or a discharge of any kind, or who is ceremonially unclean because of a dead body. Send away male and female alike. Send them outside the camp, so they will not defile their camp, where I dwell among them." The Israelites did so. They sent them outside the camp. They did just as the Lord had instructed Moses. Sounds familiar? Perhaps it's not an accident. So what now? What should we expect for the future? I believe the radiation will force people into retreating to the underground. But who knows what's next? With only the information of the demo, that's the most we can do. But I wanna know what you guys think. What is causing this radiation? War? A nuclear accident? Something else? Was this made on purpose? Was this an accident? I'd like to hear your conspiracy theories down below, so leave a comment of what you think. For now, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing for more content like this in the future. And I will see you next time.